Hi there, welcome to Kneppyinvest and welcome to Monday, the 24th of November, 2025. Time is currently 2:47 p.m., which means there's about 1 hour and 23 minutes left of trading today on a fabulous green day. Fabulous unless you're really short the market, leveraged up in VBUS and all those bear ETFs and short everything. So unless you're like that, you've had probably a pretty good day. I'll be honest, a little bit better than I was expecting. However, the American futures are positive. In fact, I think NASDAQ futures up 0.72% as I speak. So I do think that has played a part in our positive day. I was expecting us to be up between 0.5 and 1%. So I definitely think the futures in United States have helped us out today. Okay, so in today's video, we'll go through the ASX today, have a look at the best and worst performing sectors, indices and companies. Then we'll go through the top 5 stocks of the day. I'll be honest with you, announcements today were quite, I'm not going to say boring, but there wasn't a lot to choose from. Put it like that. Wasn't a lot to choose from. However, one of the best performing companies on the ASX did release their results. I'm not sure if the market is overreacting. I think they are. I think the market is overreacting just a little bit. But the share price of this company had pulled back a fair bit. A tech company, and the market likes those results. And the other 4 companies in the top 5 include one of the biggest companies on the ASX. And I didn't really want to include that company, but there was not much else to choose from. And then we'll have a look at the chart of the day. Another company released results today. Share price hasn't moved all that much, but I did have a look at this chart yesterday. I was thinking, I can actually see this breaking out, particularly if they release something positive. I thought maybe today was that day, but share price has pulled back a little bit. Okay, so let's have a look at trading economics. Asian stocks mostly rise. Yep. They actually, even in this article, they actually mentioned Qube Holdings, which I'm not going to really talk about because it's a buyout offer. And BHP no longer considering a merger with Anglo American. Yeah, so what? Oil falls on prospects of Russia-Ukraine deal. Italy gets first Moody's upgrade in 23 years. And US consumer sentiment near record low. That's interesting. US futures rise to start the week. As I mentioned before, their futures are up. Now, just because the futures are up doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a green day on Wall Street overnight. Things can change quite quickly, but looking good the start of this particular week. In fact, you can see how quiet today has been just by going through Capital Brief. Sometimes I go through this just in case I've missed anything, but there's just not much here. Medicus in the top 5 because there's nothing else to choose from. Takeover bid for Qube, some sort of acquisition, MA Financial. Takeover bid rejected for Monash IVF. I'll briefly discuss that, but there's just nothing here. Babcock names a new CEO, boring, and then BHP drops Anglo American. In fact, they didn't even mention the company that did release results. I thought probably should have been mentioned. Probably should have been mentioned because the share price has popped up and its results. And of course, Droneshield released some sort of media release today, telling everyone, no, don't panic. Don't panic. Company's doing well, but everyone sold shares in it. Not only, actually, I might talk about Droneshield because I found it really fascinating what they mentioned in that article or that media release. Just by looking at the lack of interesting articles in Capital Brief shows you that today was lacking in really intriguing announcements. In particular, I'm looking for trading updates. Did not see that today. Okay, so let's have a look at the ASX today. And yeah, everything's done pretty well today. Mining maybe not as much, only up 0.5%. And if we have a look at the best and worst performing sectors, everything's done well except energy, which is sort of understandable. We saw oil prices down. Staples not as well as the other sectors, which is understandable, more defensive. And industrials, healthcare, IT, real estate, telecommunications, utilities, and even financials, all up by more than 1%. Gold's had a good day as well, up 1.46%. So why is mining not up as well? Maybe some other mining or commodity has not done well, not sure which. ASX 20 up 0.93%, so not as well as some of the other indices, including the XJO. I'm assuming that's because of energy and staples and mining. So let's have a look at the ASX 20. I would say maybe 2 or 3 companies down, including Woodside. That's all I can think of right now. Let's see. Two companies down, and those are Woodside and BHP. I didn't even think about BHP. But Woodside, that was a fairly easy one. And best performing companies in the ASX 20, Go CSL, Goodman Group, understandable, Transurban, Westpac, Brambles, CBA, Rio Tinto, Telstra, all up by more than 1% today. Okay, so let's have a look at the best gainers on the ASX today by percentage change. We have a company called C29 Metals. Fairly low turnover for that. I did have a look, market cap 4.7 million. Did a look just to see if they did release anything. No. So we can move on. Monash RVF have rejected an NBIO, non-binding indicative offer, at 90 cents, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong with that. And that's why the share price is up 40. Even though they've rejected it, just with this sort of takeover bid, that's the market saying, hey, we believe you are undervalued. And in my opinion, this would be an opportunistic takeover bid. And that's essentially what they said. In fact, let's have a look at it. Why not? Don't know why I'm keep on. So management just said this is a lowball offer, which that's what other companies, that's what fund managers or fundy or whatever, private equity should be doing. They should be looking at opportunistic takeover bids. Companies that have whose valuation has fallen a lot. It just makes sense that this would happen. And I think the market is saying, hey, there could be some upside for this company. Here he is. Monash IVF rejects NBIO proposal to acquire the company. And the reasoning behind the rejection, and I do like this, I really like when management come out and said, get lost, get lost. They said the offer price is a substantial discount to comparable IVF transactions in the Australian market, 7.7 times financial year 25. What was it? The implied EV to underlying financial year 25 EBITDA, 7.7. So they're saying share price of this company has dropped a lot because of a few screw ups, and this is just a nice little opportunistic takeover. This particular consortium already owns 19.6% of the company. The proposal remains conditional and require further due diligence, access to senior management and key employees. The reason that's important is because when this sort of thing happens, the management of a company can be quite distracted. I've seen that quite often. So I do like to say get lost. We want our management to be fully focused on the company and uncertainty in respect to the financing arrangements proposed by the consortium. There you go. So that's why the share price is high. Now, the share price of Monash had been under, what's the good word? Had been under pressure for a while. That's the 1 minute chart. And this does, yeah, there we go. So share price very near the lows at just under 60 cents recently. So nothing else I really can say about this. Maybe, Monash IVF. But if they do release another negative announcement, who knows, maybe something else will go wrong. The share price probably would dive after that as well. All right, so that's Monash, one of the best performing companies today. I'll talk about Somerset Minerals, another small company in the top 5. Again, nothing much to talk about. Gentrack up 22.24%. That's a company that did release results, so that is a stock of the day. A few other companies up a fair bit because they released something last week. Share price has rallied, including Mount Ridley and Alvo. In fact, Mount Ridley, Alvo, and DevX Resources are 3 companies I have taken a small trading position in. So I'm happy with that. Qube Holdings, take over a bid for that company. I'm not sure why. I did research on Qube not that long ago, and I found it really expensive. So maybe my research or analysis on Qube was completely wrong. The chart looks good, but take over a bid for Qube, nah. I wouldn't be surprised if the management in this case would be saying, go for it. If you want to pay excessively more than what the company's worth, you do it. I wonder if they've done that. Yeah, I have not much interest in this one. Process deed with MAM following indicated proposal. Interesting enough, if you go through the announcements this morning, these two for Monash, these two takeover bids for Monash and Qube were one after the other. How far back was it? Oh, here we go. Here we go. Yeah, so at 8:44 a.m. had the Qube takeover bid, and then 8:46 a.m. the Monash IVF. And just before those two, we had the Droneshield, recent response to recent media reporting, which I'll touch upon. And before that one, we have Island Pharmacueticals, which is in my top 5. So during the period between 8:43 And before that, we had the BHP, which I don't really care about. But between 8:43 and 8:46, there was a few interesting announcements in that period. Okay, maybe I'm getting a little bit too excited. Other than that, there was nothing much here. Oh, Max 7 share price is up. They did receive a price query from the ASX, and they answered really boringly. No insight to why the share price might have risen. And Reece up 12.75% after what I thought was pretty good results, or good an update. Was that last Friday? And the share price has rallied today. So a bit of a delayed reaction from Reece. We'll just have a quick look at the chart. Now, the share price or the chart wasn't looking all that crash hot. And even today, I'm still not. Yeah, could it be a trade killer event? I don't know. I'm not sure about that. Volume has probably been fairly low. Yeah, it's been fairly low. I wouldn't be surprised to see the interest in this company drop away and then the share price starts to slip back. Okay, best performing companies today by market cap. We have Qube, Reece, Life360. So quite a few of these companies like Life360, SiteMinder, Superloop, share prices have all pulled back over the last few weeks, and now they're going to rally. SKS Technologies up 10.95, and I'll be honest with you, nothing much here. eRoad share price pulled back a fair bit, and Eco IQ also in my top 5. So I think I've mentioned all the companies in my top 5 so far. Gentrack, Ireland Pharmacueticals, Somerset, EIQ, and Medicus. So Eco IQ. Now on to the top losers. Bunch of losers. Main Pharma down 17.98%. This is because, what's his name? Jim Chalmers says, after market had opened, hey, you can't take over this company because they're critical to Australia. Yep. Share price is down 17.98 because of that, even though share price had dived before he made that announcement. So there must have been some loose lips. I don't know exactly what happened. There was actually some criticism about Jim Chalmers in relation to this. But I think maybe he didn't really care. Maybe someone should have told him. So he released the announcement, or they released the news without telling the company, possibly telling the company, and the company should have gone into training halt before they released this news. Share price had already dived because he released it, and the company went to training halt. So I would like to see a bit of response in regards to what happened here, and maybe Jim Chalmers, if he did something wrong, he should get a slap on the wrist, because share price did drop a fair bit on Friday with this, and I think that's not good. I would say there would be some people out there who would be highly upset about it. Yeah, down 23%, now down another 17%. Other than that, nothing much. Metro Performance Glass released results today, but share price down 17.5% on $386 of turnover. That we can just move on. Just noise. And there's nothing else here. There's a few other companies did release something to like Infinity Resources. I did see them release something, but I wasn't that interested in it. Okay, top losers by market cap. I think lithium, if I remember rightly, Liontown Resources core lithium. So it looks like lithium had dropped a little bit in the last week, and that little bit of negative sentiment has continued into today. Accent Group, a really bad announcement last Friday. I thought that was really bad. Share price has moved down even lower. So I think analysis did a little bit of research, not research, but they pumped the numbers or put the numbers into their machines, and it spat out a fair value of $4 for Accent Group. I'm kidding. At 95 cents, below $1, I think there might be some value, but the sentiment in Accent Group is just horrendous right now. And you can see that by the chart. So is there value in Accent Group? The chart just looks horrendous, and the volume. Whoa. Wouldn't be surprised to see it bounce. And I think if there is a bounce, the share price I could see getting to would be like $1.15. So you might get like a 20% return if you buy and hope for a bounce, but I do prefer much more than that. The other way to play this is if you do think there's value, but I don't know with Accent Group. Share price is getting towards the lows we have seen since 2017. So yeah, anyway, who's brave enough to do or buy some shares in Accent Group? Okay, and anything else here? No, that's it. So let's go on to the top 5 stocks of the day. Actually, before that, we'll do Droneshield first. I'll just talk about the very interesting comment. And I think they thought this particular comment they made in their little media release today is positive, and I think it's complete opposite. So, response to recent media reporting saying everything's fine. What's his name? Oleg Vornik. Fundamental business of Droneshield remains strong and unchanged. They continue to deliver record revenues, expand globally, invest in technological innovation, etc., etc. And the question is, well, if the company's doing really well, why did you completely sell out? Not only you, but all these other insiders. So they also say that they are recognizing that its level of stakeholder engagement may not have met expectations at a time when company resources were focused on engaging with the Australian Securities Exchange in relation to its recent queries. I think the best thing they could have done is, why did they sell out? That would have maybe calmed some nerves, but probably not. But the thing I found really interesting, if I can find it, because I remember reading this, but I bet I won't be able to. Oh no, here it is. Here it is. Droneshield notes, in addition to the directors having exercised and sold a part of their newly vested shares, I'm not sure if a part of their newly vested shares completely, they sold all their vested shares, I think. A number of employees have done so as well, criticising the role. So they've also mentioned that a lot of employees have sold out as well, which for me is not a positive thing. That is actually a negative thing. So there is a chance that a lot of employees are seeing the writing on the wall because they know what's happening. They're in there. They know what's happening. And if they think this company is going to do better and better things in the future, would they be selling? And I'd say the answer would be no. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're all selling because they can get better returns elsewhere. So maybe Droneshield would do 20% per year over the next 10 years. And what they're thinking is, we'll put our money into something that's going to give us 50% per year. Maybe that's what they're doing, but I doubt it. It's just a lot of red flags. And this actually is even another big red flag, that many employees, a number of employers, have sold out as well. Maybe they didn't sell out, but they sort of imply they sold out. Okay, so that's all I'm going to talk about when it comes to Droneshield. Although this sort of announcement did intrigue me. So onto the top 5 stocks of the day. I didn't really want to do Pro Medicus, but why not? Share price up 3.87%. Now, some of this is probably because of the bounce in the market, but this is the second contract they've announced in the past week. Now, last week they announced a 5-year, $44 million deal with Advanced Radiology Management. I was going to mention that, but I thought, yeah. Share price up 4.23% on that day. But when they've announced 2 contract wins, actually this is actually 4 contract wins in a fairly brief period of time, that's actually a good sign moving forward. Now these 3 new contracts only valued at $29 million. Now, in saying that, a few years ago when they announced a contract of $29 million, that was considered, oh, this is pretty good. This is with Children's of Alabama Pediatric Hospital, Roswell Park Comprehensive Cancer Center, something to do with aliens. Oh no, it's in Buffalo. Maybe there's aliens in Buffalo now. Ooh, aliens getting cancer. There you go. And also Vancouver Clinic. And that's in Washington, not British Columbia. So a little bit of a interesting, I'll just tell you a little story here. So when I was actually staying, I was doing 2 hikes. I went from South Sister in Oregon to Mount St. Helens in Washington, and Portland is sort of in between the two. And I decided to stay at a suburb north of Portland, across the border in Washington. And that suburb's called Vancouver. Now, I knew Vancouver existed because when I did some reading on Mount St. Helens, because I was climbing it, they were talking to a few people, some, what do you call it, volcanologists, or what do they call them? And they were talking about how they had to go back to their office in Vancouver. And I was like, why do they have to go to British Columbia? That's so far away. So, of course, me being curious, I discovered, there's a suburb just north of Portland called Vancouver, not far away from Mount St. Helens. So I knew there was a Vancouver, but I did actually say and write to my mum, hey, I'm staying in Vancouver tonight. And she didn't believe me. I said, hey, it's true. Anyway, so that's my story on Vancouver, Washington. Anyway, they actually mentioned here, Vancouver Clinic, a physician-owned and governed group in Vancouver, Southwest Washington. It is Southwest Washington, yeah, exactly right. It's right on the border with Oregon. Vancouver, Washington, don't believe me? Here we go, there it is, right on the, there's Portland, you zoom out, there's Portland, and there's Vancouver. And the other thing I should mention is I stayed somewhere here, and I had the nicest pizza of my trip. I don't know who it was, I should find out. Anyway, you don't care about that. Okay, so another contract win or contracts win for Medicus, and they also mention here minimum total contract value for sales the first half of financial year 26 up to $273 million. So $273 million, and Medicus is still, I'm going to say, valued richly. I'm not going to say overvalued, valued richly. This is the daily chart. Moving average crossover, but I wouldn't be surprised to see the share price rally again. P ratio 320. Oh, only 228. Well, there you go. Not as bad as I was thinking, but this company is going to grow significantly over the next 5-10 years. And I shouldn't say it will be a bigger company, because if the P ratio drops to 10, the company could be significantly bigger in terms of sales, and the market cap might be smaller. That's one of the problems with these sort of companies with a high P ratio. Even if they perform really, really well, you might not get much of a return. Okay, so that's Medicus. Now on to Echo IQ. Share price only up 8.7. It was up 10%. Exceptional results from validation study for Echo Solve HF. I'm pretty sure I've looked at this company in the past. Now, I did have a look at one of the presentations. So this is a cardiology solution software company. That's what they're dealing with, heart attacks and stuff like that, which is a heart health, I suppose. Not sure exactly what Echo Solve HF is. I also had a look at the Appendix 4C just to have a look to see if they're selling anything just yet, but they're not. If you have a look at what they do, they should have a little about section here. Uses AI-driven technology and proprietary software to improve decision-making in cardiology, which doesn't help me all that much. Now, I'm pretty sure I looked at this company once because the chart looked very familiar. Anyway, I did not. I said I was going, I think, no, that's for Island Pharmaceuticals. Anyway, looks like they will be selling stuff within the next year, based off what I'm reading here. So what was intriguing to me, so this sounds pretty good. Echo Solve HF validation met the primary endpoint. This was the Mayo Clinic, which is one of the best health clinics in the world. Study was undertaken, 17,000 individual patients. FDA submission now being finalized with lodgement expected in the coming weeks. Company to leverage existing footprint in the US market to drive uptake of Echo Solve HF post-potential FDA clearance. FDA clearance of Echo Solve HF would unlock a major market opportunity in the US. Only 50% of heart failure cases are accurately diagnosed. So obviously something to do with diagnosis of heart failure. And the market cap, they also mention here, total addressable market, TAM, is $60 billion. And 1 in 4 Americans will develop heart failure in their lifetime. I'd like to do a little bit more research on what exactly Echo Solve HF, how much they're going to sell it for, that sort of thing, if they get approval. But they need to get that approval. I'm wondering if this is now, I wouldn't say a certainty, but it's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good for Echo IQ. They're doing a webinar on Wednesday at 11 a.m. Maybe I could drop in on the webinar just to learn a little bit more about this company. But again, this is still a story stock. They are not selling anything at this point in time. Maybe they're selling something, but they have been receiving no receipts at this point in time. Onto the chart for Echo IQ. And yeah, the chart looked fairly familiar. And in fact, I put this little support line, and that support line failed about 3 or 4 months ago. And yeah, this chart does look familiar. Share price has been moving in a downtrend for a while, but on occasion, you just see a bit of interest in this company in terms of the share price just going bananas. Well, we've done it once. Now, the share price did drop off a lot on the 19th of May. Share price dropped 25% on that day. I wonder what happened that day. 19th of May. Trading halt. There was just a price query. Oh, yeah. But that does look like a trend killer event. And in this case, it did kill the trend. Share price rallied a lot in September, but not a lot of volume with that rally, which when you don't see volume on a rally like that, it's destined to fail, and it did fairly quickly as well. This little rally may be a little bit more, no, not really. So I would like to see a little bit more volume, but I wouldn't be surprised to see the share price just drop away like we saw back in September. But anyway, I'd like to do a little bit more research on Echo IQ, just see exactly what they're doing. But a nice day for the company. And this could be a nice announcement. Coming in number 3, we have Somerset Minerals. I'll be honest with you, I've never heard of this company. Share price up 16.7%. Share price is fairly low at 1.4 cents. Copper mine drilling confirms thick, high-grade copper. Thick, high-grade copper. So obviously a copper exploring company. They have released a few of these sort of announcements recently, starting off with, when was it? There was an announcement here that did give the market a little bit of excitement. So they've been releasing quite a few interesting announcements, but not all of these interesting announcements have been absolutely well received by the market. So going back the last few months, talking about further assays confirm widespread thick and high-grade copper, visual mineralization intersected below 42.7, 2.69% copper, copper mine exploration update in gold and assays, visual copper mineralization in multiple holes. I think that was the one where the share price did go up a fair bit. So on the 30th of September, let's have a look. Yeah, share price went up 30.77% on that day on pretty big volume, 107 million shares traded, which was well above the average. So maybe that was the announcement that did generate a little bit of interest in this company. And although that share price has been a little bit volatile and volume has sort of been drifting lower, volume today hasn't been as high as probably what you'd like, only 29 million so far. So probably would prefer a little bit more volume for me to be overly excited about this one. Now, to the announcement itself, if it updates, copper mine drilling continues, and I'm not the biggest, well, I'm not an expert in reading any sort of drilling results, but I'm less confident in reading copper drilling results. Now, depth will be important. It just mentions here, remains open in all directions, now to find over 250 meter of strike and lengths up to 71.6 meters. That sounds pretty big. And look, the copper grades don't sound massive, although 42.7 meters at 2.69% copper, that sounds pretty good. I'm just wondering if I put this into ChatGPT, would I get a nice little how to view this copper hit V? How to interpret? No, not interpret. Although they did mention here, that's a high-grade copper intercept. Never thought about doing this, just putting it into ChatGPT. So 2.69%, 42.7 meters straight, yep. So high grade is above 2%, above 3%, very high grade. 42.7 meters is meaningfully thick. But be careful, downhole length does not equal true thickness. There you go. So maybe there is a bit of oomph to this particular announcement. This company is fairly small as well. We're talking about a market cap of, what was it, 16 million? I think it was 14.4 million. So it's a fairly small company, and this could be it for Somerset Minerals. Maybe this is a start, and the start has been brewing for a while. If we have a look at the chart, yeah, you can see actually share price popping up on the 30th, and big volume on that day. Volume has slipped away a little bit, but sometimes it takes a while for really the market to get a little bit excited. But I do like how the volume has increased. And the reason I would like to see bigger volume today, that would be another hint that the market is becoming aware of this. So I would have liked a volume like 60 million. And not really a breakout. It's not really the chart I'm looking for. I would have loved this to have been a 6-month high. That would be awesome on really big volume. But anyway, I suppose a fairly nice announcement from the company based off what I read in ChatGPT. Okay, coming in at number 2, we have, whoops, I got rid of, we have Island Pharmaceuticals. Share price up 10.58%. Has been as high as up as much as 20% today. Share price got to 63 cents. So we have seen a bit of selling coming in. I read this and I had no idea how to interpret it. And the reason I'm reading this is because Island Pharmaceuticals is definitely on my watch list for a potential smaller trade. Just because the market likes this, and we also know Next Investors loves this company. If they keep on loving it and keep on pushing this company out there, this could go on a bit of a run. So coalition acceptance to advance US procurement and stockpiling. Just the title itself. What? Coalition? What has the coalition got to do with anything? And I was just thinking for some stupid reason, and sometimes I am stupid, what does the Liberals and National Party have to do with this? I don't understand it at all. No, nothing to do with politics in America or in Australia. Acceptance into the Medical Countermeasures Coalition. So okay. I did put this into GPT, and then I just said to it, because then it just sort of regurgitated the announcement. So what actually happened? Why is this a big deal for Island Pharmaceuticals? But I'm pretty sure this is just regurgitating from the announcement. So then I said, I asked ChatGPT, look outside the announcement to find benefits. So I want to know, in essence, what is this? Anyway, so it gave me some few points here. So the MC2 gives Island, and the MC2 is the Medical Countermeasures Coalition. So there's 2 C's, MC2. Why not just MCC? Well, then that would be the Melbourne Cricket Club or whatever it's called. MCC. What is the MCC? Isn't that English? MCC? Cricket. Oh, Marylebone. I knew that. Marylebone, yeah. World famous cricket club, founded in 1787. Yeah, I knew that one. Marylebone. Okay, anyway, so let's go back to this JTP. Anyway, so this particular thing gives Island access to US government non-dilutive funding. Membership increases visibility to agencies that regularly hand out millions of dollars in grants for antiviral development. It's interesting. So we're talking about BARDA, Department of Defense, CDC. Now, some of these might have seen their funding cut dramatically, which is potential because we have a Nutter in the role of, what is he? The whatever it's health or whatever it's called, I don't know, and he is a nutter. These grants often require collaboration with biodefense coalitions or prefer applicants connected in the policy ecosystems. And some of the past government-funded winners include SIGA, $1 billion plus cumulative government support, Bavarian Nordic, multi-billion-dollar US contracts, Emergent Biosolutions, and repeated BARDA contracts. For very small companies, membership has historically been a gateway to government-backed clinical trial funding. Positive signal to potential pharma partners. That's interesting, yep. So I can definitely see why some bigger pharma companies are now going, oh, Island Pharmaceuticals, this is interesting. Involvement, the coalition involvement signals legitimate science, alignment with US policy, reduced investment risk. Improved access to US political intelligence and policy shaping, and soft due diligence by US stakeholders. Membership is a form of vetting. It shows that the island has credible science, aligns with you, blah, 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 blah. Isn't just another microcap biotech gambling on hype. So if you actually do go through this and read it, this is maybe a fairly important announcement for Island Pharmaceuticals. I don't know. Anyway, share price up 10.58%, and the chart is pretty good as well. This is another reason why I'm interested in this one. Chart is good. So no problems with this chart at all. We have seen a little bit of selling. There's no real resistance. There's no real resistance. And the time it really gets started in this company would have been back in October last year. Share price on the 3rd of October jumped up 31.25%. Didn't do really much for about a year, almost a year, then has gone silly since then. Maybe not silly, but it's gone up threefold. And look at the volume as well. Look at the volume. We've seen an increase in volume from about May. Share price actually did dip back, and then another increase in volume back in August. Okay, on to the stock of the day, which is Gentrack. The company did release their results. Share price up 22.24%, up to $8. I had a look at these results and was like, nah, whatever. Really didn't fill me with. By the way, these results were not better than expected or worse than expected. If you go back to their half-year results, here we go. I'm assuming the guidance was in the market. Yeah, so they expected revenue to be at or above 230 million and EBITDA margin to be above 12%. Okay, and that's exactly what they got. Revenue was 230.2 million, so just above 230 million. And EBITDA margin, so EBITDA was 27.8%. If you do 27.8% divided by 230.2, where's my calculator? I have to go to my other screen. Can't even find my calculator. Let's do it in our head. That's about 2.3, 230, 4.8. It's almost 12%. It's just above 12%. So 27.8 divided by 230.2. So it's about 12.5% maybe. 12.1%. I was a little bit off. 12.1%. So these results were exactly in line with what they were expecting. And if you have a look at their guidance, they said, no, we can't really guide now. We just don't know. But they also mentioned we remain confident of our midterm guidance of revenue, of growing revenue more than 15% CAGR and EBITDA margins of 15 to 20%. But that doesn't change. They mentioned that in the previous half year. So this is probably the market saying, hey, we expected some really bad numbers for Gentrack, or maybe a downgrade, or maybe something bad, and we were wrong. So this is the market saying we were wrong with Gentrack. Now, you can sort of see the market being wrong because the share price of this company has taken a bit of a hit recently. And yeah, the share price had started to accelerate down, and then all of a sudden, share price has popped up. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if this is I don't know. There's a lot of resistance moving forward for Gentrack. Volume has been okay today, not massive. And even if you have a look at the numbers, and even if you have a look at their potential numbers over the next few years, you can't say this company is really cheap at these levels. But this was a great trade for me over about a 3-year period. For those who don't know, I traded this from, when did I buy it? It was sometime in late 2020. Share price broke out in November 2022. So we're talking about 3 years ago. And it was a brilliant trade for about 2 years. Yeah, about 2 years, a brilliant trade. And sentiment has shifted a little bit more negative now. But just Gentrack Group. Stock of the day. Okay, and finally, chart of the day is going to be PYC Therapuetics. This company is richly valued. Market likes something about this company. Where is it? Market cap of PYC Therapuetics is 700 million, maybe 831. I was a little bit off. $831 million. The reason I say the market is very bullish about this company moving forward is if you have a look at the most recent Appendix 4C, is this a story stock? They have no receipts. So this is a story stock. So the market really likes a story with PYC Therapuetics. Now, in saying all that, they did a PKD clinical trial approval to escalate dosing. There you go. Now, this particular announcement didn't really enthuse me all that much. But what did enthuse me was they did release a positive announcement, or what could have been considered a positive announcement. When I put this company into my watch list in terms of just the chart, and I was thinking, if the company released something really positive, this could break out. And the reason I say that, so share price of this company went on, in fact, it's been higher twice in the past 5 years. Has been as high as about 215 back in October 2024. Share price not really doing much. It looks like a really bad announcement on the 17th of September. Share price down 30%, but it recovered really quickly, which can be a good sign. What happened on the 30th of September? No, 17th. What did they release on the 17th of September? I would have missed this one. Change of managing director. There you go. In fact, I would say sometimes that can be that can lead to a bit of an overreaction from the market, particularly I can definitely see why I don't remember this. This sort of announcement doesn't draw me in either way. 2 months notice. Does it say why he's resigned? It could be just he wants to live his life. He wants to live, or maybe health reasons. I'm going to say that. No, I'm not going to say anything. I think a lot of people work way too much and they don't live. And that's my advice to anyone. Make sure you live life. Don't just work your butt off. Anyway, as that saying goes, no, I was going to say something, but I'm not going to say it. Anyway, yeah, when I became debt-free, I realized the most important thing isn't money, isn't all that sort of thing. The most important thing when it comes to life is time, having time to do what you'd like to do. And if you're working 12, 18 hours a day, you might not get that time, particularly once you get older. I can sort of understand maybe if you're younger, but once you get older, you don't have much time left. Enjoy the rest of your time on this planet because there's a lot of things to do instead of working your butt off. Anyway, in fact, whenever I see a CEO resigning to retire or spend more time with his family, I go, yeah, you go. It's a great reason. Okay. Anyway, so let's go back to this. So this is a daily chart, and I was looking at this going, oh, this has the potential to break out. All it needs to do is get above this level here, which is right on. Just going to zoom, spread this out, which is around about $1.45. So it's very close to breaking out. But my only concerns, a market cap of $800 million is quite excessive for a company that is really a story stock. Obviously, the market thinks this company is going to go far. Doesn't mean it's going to be right. And that's all I have. Oh, by the way, I did a poll. Actually, you'll be able to see this. So which of these 90-cent stocks will be highest at the end of the week? MLG Oz, Alkane Resources, PointsBet, and Adrad. I put the wrong ticker code for Adrad, and I went in to change it, edit it. You can't edit. I was like, what? So I actually Googled this. How do you edit polls in YouTube Studio? And it said, click on the 3 dots, and there's be edit thing that pops up. It says delete forever. It has even the undo changes, save boxes here, but everything's grayed out, and I just can't find the edit. There's no edit button. I just find that extraordinary. I'm obviously missing something. Anyway, so there is a poll, and at this point in time, Alkane Resources is winning over PointsBet, MLG, and Adrad's coming behind. But maybe it's because it's the wrong ticker code. I think the ticker code should be AHL. Let's see. Alkane Resources up 5.56, and Adrad, go Adrad, all flat. And PointsBet, oh, which one's winning? Oh, PointsBet's down, and MLG, oh, Alkane is winning. You guys are smart. Well, maybe not smart, maybe just lucky. More than half of you picked Alkane. Okay, so that's all I have for today's video. If you have any questions, any thoughts, leave those in the comment section of this video. Otherwise, I am not a financial advisor. If you need financial advice, make sure you seek out someone who is qualified and can speak to your own financial needs. That's it for this video. Have a good day. Bye.